Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my new decluttering series where I am going through my entire house and decluttering from top to bottom. I'm actually starting at the front of my house and today is episode 2, so we are going to be working on our kitchen. I have a lot of motivation and tips coming your way, so let's do this. I wanna hear you say that you only want me. I am starting out by showing you guys the before shots of these cabinets. Some are a lot worse than others, but all of them need to be touched a little bit, and a lot of them need a lot of decluttering. So I'm just kind of opening everything up to kind of share that with you guys and also get a little bit real with myself. Sometimes seeing the chaos helps me just feel motivated to purge everything. So that's what I like to do. I've also been reading a book lately. I'll kind of talk about that a little bit later on, but that has been changing my decluttering game. I feel like I've learned so much through that. So I will be sharing some of the tips and tricks that she shares in the book. And like I mentioned, I started at the front of the house and we're just working our way back. So in episode 1, I went through my office, Kyle's office, our guest room, and our entryway. And then I also started into the kitchen. But today, since the kitchen is such a big task, this is going to be its own episode. But the kitchen is one of my favorite places to declutter because I'm in here all the time and I feel like I really feel the benefits of this every single day. Let me know in the comments if there's any areas in your house that you are needing to declutter. I definitely have my work cut out for me today, but I'm going to listen to actually the same decluttering book that I've been listening to. I've listened to it on and off, and I'm partway through the book, but it's such a good one. This is the book that I'm listening to. I'll also just put it up here on the screen. Decluttering at the Speed of Life by Dana K. White. It is so phenomenal. I have just enjoyed that book so much. I feel like it has shared a lot of things that I didn't previously ever think about. So it's just helped me declutter in a different way. And I feel like I've been so far a lot more successful with it. So I'm gonna put my headphones in and we're gonna get to decluttering. First things first, I needed to create a space where I was able to kind of organize my decluttered items. So that can be a box, that can be a laundry bin, or in my case, I'm just using our kitchen table. And when I'm decluttering things, I'm actually sorting things out into different sections between our donate pile and also items that we're going to be selling in a garage sale. Now, Dana White, from her book, she says to use a black garbage bag for trash and a donatable box, and I feel like that is a great tip. However, I'm kind of doing a mix of what she teaches in her book and also just doing what works for me, and I feel like that's always how it has to go. You can take the best of what you learn from someone else, but in the end, you also have to do what works for you. Now, when I have a very full cabinet like this, I typically will find it more effective to empty out the space completely and touch every item. I feel like it just helps me get rid of even more and be more realistic with myself, especially when there's so much to declutter. And I also love doing that because it gives me the opportunity to clean out the space before I load the things that I'm keeping back inside. So that's what I'm starting out by doing, is just pulling everything out, wiping everything down. But as I'm pulling things out, I'm putting them into a pile immediately of things that I'm keeping or think I might be keeping, and then things that I'm going to be decluttering. To vacuum out the cabinets, I am just using my little handheld vacuum. This has been so nice. I got it several months ago and I saw it was actually on a really good deal right now for, I believe, about 50% off. It's $64 on sale. I'm not sure how long it's gonna last, but if you need a little handheld vacuum, this is name brand. It has very good suction and it also has a few different attachments, so I definitely would recommend this one. I will link it down below for you guys if you're in the market. All right, so normally I will do what I just did and I pull everything out. However, I had just changed over my cups from the mason jars that we had before, and so I know that those ones we're keeping, those are our new ones that, you know, we had our mason jars for like 10 years, so it was a fun change to change that up. It was easier to keep certain things in here. I do want to get rid of like 2 more of these mugs. I don't know, we feel a little attached to them, so I'm gonna work on that and hopefully I'll figure out which one we want to get rid of by the end of the day. But we just have 2 more mugs in the dishwasher right now, and then everything else was just kind of easy. So I didn't have to do too much to this one, but the next ones will be, we'll see how they go. But on the bright side, I did find a few mugs that we are going to declutter that we just never grab for anymore.
We're moving through the night like we're from a different star, flying over streets and our broken hearts.
These 2 cabinets right here, you're gonna see that I'm really not decluttering a whole ton from them. And the old me would definitely feel like, oh, I need to find something in here that I don't use. However, we use everything in those cabinets. Those are our daily dishware. I also have our outdoor servingware so that we don't have to buy paper products. And then I also have some servingware up there. And so everything in there is very functional to our family. So one of my big tips for decluttering is don't declutter just to declutter. Definitely be real with yourself and get rid of things that aren't serving you anymore, but don't get rid of things just because you feel like you need to get rid of things. You know what I mean? Just to add on to what I just mentioned, even if you just declutter 1 or 2 things from a small cabinet or drawer, it can absolutely make a big difference. So don't feel negative about it, feeling like you didn't declutter a bunch.
Yeah, we're of a different breed, 'cause what we got is timeless, we supersede, and we hold in the key.
All right, listen to this very closely. The next thing that I want to share comes from that book that I've been reading, Declutter at the Speed of Life. And I re-listened to this, I'm not even joking, probably 5 or 6 times. I feel like this has been such a huge thing that I've learned from her. So in today's episode, I have set aside a full several hours to declutter, but in most cases, on most days, I can't do that. And I feel like that's where I fall behind on decluttering. I feel like that's where it starts to feel very overwhelming. And in one of the chapters in the books, Dana White talks about how to declutter effectively in any time frame. So one of the things she says is, as you touch each item, make a final decision about that item. So whenever you start to declutter, she says you need a black trash bag, a donatable donate box, and then each item will go directly into the trash, donate box, or its home. And if an item doesn't have a home, she shares 2 questions that will give it a home or show that it needs to be decluttered. So as you go through your items, if you don't immediately know where they go, ask yourself these questions. Number 1, if I needed this item, where would I look for it first? and then go ahead and take it there immediately. And if number one doesn't have an answer, then ask yourself the second question, which is, if I needed this item, would it occur to me that I already have it? If the answer to number two is no, then that item no longer belongs in your house because you wouldn't even look for it, meaning that it's not going to be useful for you. This huge tip that she shared has really helped me in figuring out what items belong in our house and what items don't, especially those tricky ones that are kind of that middle ground of, well, I'd really like to use it, or, oh, I forgot about this. And it's just helped me let go of things that normally I might have wanted to hold on to a little longer. So as I went through these cabinets, I was definitely getting real with myself. For example, this is a Vitamix attachment. I never, ever use it. I always want to, but I never grab for it, so I am letting it go. It has survived several declutters, thinking, I am going to use this now that I remember it's here, and I just never do. So this time I'm going to declutter it and let someone else actually get use out of this item. This can definitely be a hard thing, especially worrying about what if one day I need it, but I am deciding to not be afraid of possibly one day having to rebuy something. Most likely I will do without it, just like I've done, even while I own the item, but our minds can absolutely play tricks on us. So when you're decluttering, be real with yourself. And one of the things that I ask myself a lot when I declutter is, would I rebuy this item today or have the desire to rebuy it? And if that answer is no, or I'm not sure, then I probably don't need it. I'm just quickly removing these liners that really have not held up, and I really had the desire to peel up these original liners that are sticky, but they are kind of peeling up around the edges. They don't fit the drawers perfectly. However, my focus today isn't organizing, it's decluttering. So I'm keeping my focus and realizing that I can come back to better organize the areas and fix the drawer liners another time. Sometimes I'll get wrapped up into making an area perfect, and I never get near as far in my decluttering whenever I get wrapped into perfection of the areas and the drawers and the cabinets and all that stuff. So today's focus is decluttering, and that's it. Here I'm getting rid of multiples of straws. I ended up keeping 2 straws per person, but we never ever need more than that at the same time. And one saying that I kept in mind today as I went through everything is that I'm adding more peace by taking extra away.
Change coming. I'm feeling a change coming. Right here, I'm feeling a change. I'm feeling a change all around me. No doubt, I'm feeling a change. I'm feeling a change running down me. Now, there's change coming.
This cabinet right here is under our sink, and it is full with a garbage disposal and our RO system, but also the shelf on the bottom is completely broken and kind of warped. So that is on our to-do list. It's not super high on our to-do list, but it's on our to-do list. But again, today my focus is not fixing anything like that. It's just decluttering the items that we don't use and making the best of the space.
It's happening now, it's happening now, all around me. I'm sure it's happening now, it's happening now, yeah, it found me. Now, there's change coming. Now, there's change coming. There's change coming.
I really want to reorganize my spices. Again, not today, but maybe in the new year. But for now, I'm just consolidating any spices, and I'm also removing any expired spices and just decluttering any that I don't use. I feel like spices are one of those things where you just kind of keep it a lot of times, even if you haven't pulled it out in 5 years, because you just needed that spice for one recipe and then you never used it again. But if you don't use it, even if it's a little spice jar, it's not serving you, so let it go.
There's change coming. There's change coming. There's change coming. There's change coming.
Now, these few cabinets right here are ones that I tackled in episode 1 of my decluttering series, so I really didn't need to do a whole lot with them. However, I did still want to open them up and go through them slightly, because that is actually one of the things that Dana talks about in her book as well, is to not only go through the areas in your house and start at the front of your home, but she also says the next time you declutter, go back through those areas. Don't just declutter them once and be done. And the thing about that is it's not going to take as much time. It's not going to take you an hour to go through it. It'll take you a couple of minutes, and then you can make sure that you are maintaining that space. You're making sure that you're not letting more clutter creep into it. And I can definitely say this has been a help. I've already gone back through my office and the guest room, and it's been kind of an eye-opening tip that I've never thought to do before.
Riding this adrenaline on, you open up, I'm just getting started. You ain't ready, 'cause I'm feeling confetti. Neon dancing on my skin on, the open up, that rush setting in, and you ain't ready, 'cause I'm feeling.
So some of the things that I have in here, I have stored in here because my other cabinets were full. So I'm actually gonna move, like this is one of my food storage containers. I just didn't have room anymore in the first cabinet that we went through today. So I'm going to bring these back over there and kind of clear this out and see where we're at.
Confetti, babe. Cougar at night, stalking my type. Too many Bacardi ice, and I just might bite. Yeah, you heard me right. Don't need nobody, as long as I got lightning in my body. Oh, now it's my body, yeah. And you can bet that I don't care who's watching.
Okay, this is actually super cool. It's a ice cream ball maker. Basically, you just have to get ice cream rock salt, and then you can put in different ingredients. We actually made a dairy-free one with coconut cream, and we made it ice cream. And basically what you do is inside here, you put your ice cream mixture, and then you tighten this up, and then you're going to add in all of your rock salt and everything into this side. And then literally the kids can like bounce it on the trampoline, they can kick it around, they can just roll it back and forth across the floor, even if you're inside during the winter or something. And it makes really good ice cream. Like I said, you can even make it dairy free, but it was so yummy and the boys love it. So it's been stashed away in here, but we've used it several times still. Such a fun one. Actually, it would be a really cool Christmas gift too.
The open up, I'm just getting started. You ain't ready, 'cause I'm feeling confetti. Neon dancing on my skin on. The open up, that rush setting in, and you ain't ready, 'cause I'm feeling confetti, babe. Confetti, babe. Confetti, babe. Confetti, babe.
Let me know in the comments, do you think this is Ollie Or do you think it's Felix? Just for something fun, leave your guess in the comments and I will pick 3 of you this Friday to send a coffee to. So give me a guess on which black cat you think that was. But also I wanted to mention in my Christmas Decorate Part 1, I am offering a big giveaway to 2 lucky winners. So definitely check that video out once you're done here. All right, we are almost done with the kitchen. We have all the cabinets cleared except for the Butler's pantry area. Now the ones up top I'm not going to go through because that is more of like our pantry, like we store different supplements and food and things like that. Instead I'm going to focus on the bottom, which is where the things are. But we have a table full. I think we're gonna add a little more to it. So let's finish things up before the boys get home in a few minutes.
Kiss, bliss, good God. It feels like there's nothing missing. Filling my cup with some love in the kitchen. Cause I'm so sweet, super Sony, over easy. Yeah. Can't get enough of that good stuff. Gotta soak it up. Goodness.
Another little decluttering tip that I've learned over the years, and I can't remember who said this actually, I've heard it years ago, but maybe it was Dawn from the Minimal Mom, I'm not sure, but they said to not keep things for your ideal self. For example, I have a ton of sewing things out in our garage, and I promise you, I have not opened up my sewing machine or any of my sewing stuff since we moved to Utah. I just haven't had time for it. I haven't made time for it. And yet I want to sew, and so I keep it. And I'm pretty sure that at this point, when I make it out to the garage, I'm finally going to let it go because I am keeping those things for my ideal self. And I don't live in that world right now. Maybe one day I will, and I will honestly be able to celebrate if I declutter my sewing machine and all my sewing stuff, and one day I have the time to do it again, and I can get back into that. But until then, I am just costing myself time and space organizing it, and I'm also feeling bummed and sad when I continue to not use it and I come across it. So don't keep things for your ideal self. Keep things for yourself right now. So I really quickly went through our lunch station area, and now I'm just going through these other cabinets. A lot of these are for outside entertaining, so I do use most of these things, but I am getting rid of a few things that just no longer work for us, as well as some of my old pots and pans. They are really nice quality, but we had gotten some new ones that work with our new induction stove whenever we did our full kitchen makeover in here. So those ones I think I'm going to give to one of my sisters. Who remembers when these cabinets and drawers were bursting with just things everywhere? Now they look like this. It is so much more peaceful to open up these cabinets. One of the things that Dana talks about actually in that book is to organize the open areas first. And I actually totally agree. I think that's such a good idea. I do think that over the years, I've become pretty good at hiding some of my clutter. So a lot of my clutter isn't out in the open. I would say a majority of it is hidden in organizational bins. When they're not actually organized, they're just clutter, or in cabinets or behind doors, in closets. And so I'm kind of having to not follow that step that she's sharing. However, if you have a lot of clutter on your counter, you have a lot of clutter out in the open, definitely tackle those areas first, but then you're going to have to get into all the cabinets and all those spaces. And let me tell you, that feels so good. I'm in the kitchen multiple times a day cooking for our family, and opening these cabinets and not feeling them bursting at the seams, it has just helped me not feel so overwhelmed when I come in the kitchen to cook, and I'm so incredibly grateful for that. Doing declutters always inspires me to declutter more. I feel like clutter attracts clutter, and I also feel like a decluttered space attracts a decluttered space. So when I declutter one room, it immediately motivates me to declutter another space or another room.
Can't stop
This is everything that I pulled out of our cabinets that I am decluttering today. We got rid of so much. It's always amazing to me that all of this extra stuff that I no longer use, that I no longer need, was just sitting in our cabinets, using up the space, being in my face every time I open the cabinets, and now they feel so much better because they are this much lighter. Now that I have everything decluttered, the final steps are to actually get things out of the house. So my first step is to grab some laundry baskets, which is going to be our donate items. And then I'm also grabbing some boxes, and those are going to be to store the things that we're going to be selling in our garage sale. Like I mentioned in the last video, I'm actually going to be having the boys set up a garage sale, and they're going to be able to keep the money from those items. I think it'll just be good because they're always looking for different ways to make money for just some spending money. And so I thought that would be a really fun way to be able to do it, just kind of teach them some responsibility of just being responsible for the yard sale, but also it would help me be able to let go of things a little bit easier because I'm also helping my kids, if that makes sense. All right, so here is a better look at everything. So I have 2 garage sale boxes. This just has a ton of items from the kitchen. You also might see that I have a few Christmas decorations that kind of sprinkled in that I had decluttered when I decorated our house for Christmas last week. And then I have all the rest of the items in those laundry baskets, and those are going to go immediately to donate. And then the last few items on the table are just my pots and pans set, which is probably going to go to one of my sisters. So I wanted to keep that separate. And then Kyle actually came in and said, "Oh my gosh, you're getting rid of the juicer." I don't want to get rid of the juicer, but I feel like I just don't pull it out. So he requested that we just go ahead and keep the juicer for a little bit longer and see if we use it. And if not, then we'll go ahead and get rid of it. So that's kind of why those things are pulled out separate. Oh my gosh, you guys, this felt so good. If you have something to declutter in your home, I feel like most all of us do, I would urge you to take this motivation and tackle a space that's been driving you a little nuts or that's just kind of felt a little cluttered lately. It doesn't have to take long, especially if you use those tips that I shared earlier in the video on how you can declutter in any amount of time. The next episode in the series, I am actually moving into my bedroom and closet. And oh my gosh, I kind of don't want to share it with you guys because it's very embarrassing of how bad my closet has gotten. And we are going to tackle it together, so stay tuned for that. And also later this week, we are decorating for Christmas upstairs, just continuing on with what we did last week. So we have a lot of fun things coming up. Definitely stay tuned for that. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.